resource. Electric car maker Tesla is set to make advance payments in order to guarantee its orders in a tight supply market. They are in talks with chip suppliers in Taiwan, South Korea, and the US. Tesla is also said to be actively considering buying its own semiconductor plant. The EV maker already has an engineering team that designs high-end chips for autonomous driving. But analysts say the cost of such an investment would be excessive for Tesla. It could also set the company back as much as $20 billion. Other firms are also trying to navigate the global chip crunch through similar means. Cisco, for example, has put money in escrow to reserve its chips. And 4 other companies last month also used advanced deposits to secure semiconductors from Taiwan's UMC. HSBC is pulling out from retail banking in the US as it steps up its shift towards its biggest market in Asia. It's selling its East Coast personal and small business banking business to Citizens Bank and its West Coast business to Cathay Bank. HSBC expanded into the U.S. retail banking in the 1980s as part of a broader strategy to diversify its geographical focus, but it has struggled against competition from larger domestic players. Earlier this year, the bank unveiled a revised strategy focusing mainly on wealth management in Asia. SoftBank Group Corp's bank loans climbed by 42% in the year to March. The conglomerate borrowed about $46 billion from its principal lenders in the last business year. The increase in borrowing also was shouldered by foreign lenders, company filings show. Mizuho Financial Group was the only Japanese bank in the top 3 backers, alongside Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase. This comes as the Japanese conglomerate has been building its tech investing operations globally. That's it for business. Back to you, Jill.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. Well, 10 years have passed since the deadly Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan. Some former residents of Okuma town, which hosts the crippled Daiichi nuclear power plant, have started returning. Michio Ishida reports.
Okuma town, ground zero of the 2011 Fukushima nuclear accident. 11,000 people used to live here. Today, much of it still looks like a horror movie set. In 2019, the government declared that parts of the town were considered safe for residents to return. Around 800 now reside in this area. Most are temporary residents who came to Okuma to help with the decommissioning of the damaged Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. About 300 are former residents who returned to Okuma recently, like 23-year-old Makiko Sato. Makiko was 13 when she was evacuated from Okuma after the triple disaster 10 years ago. She returned to Okuma last year after her budding theater career in Tokyo came to a dead end because of COVID-19. She has lived in a government-sponsored house since returning to Okuma. She also found a job with the local government.
まちづくり公社っていう、町民の方と役場の方の中間ぐらいにいる立場なので、今はもう楽しめているその状況もこう明日仕事に行くの楽しみだなとかあんまり
Coming back to Okuma has triggered a sense of mission in her for the town.
奥間に13年間しかもともと住んでなかったから知らないことの方が多いですし、もっと奥間を知っていかなきゃいけないなって思いますし、さらにこう新しい奥間を作っていく世代だと思うので、そこは意識していこうかなって思ってます。
Makiko has settled in well in her new home. But Okuma Mayor Jun Yoshida said he cannot paint a future for Okuma yet.
この赤いところが、じゃあここは除染をいつやるんだとか、いつから、例えば住むことができるんだとかっていうことは全く経営学の立っていないところがこの赤いところなんです。こういう大きく今3つですかね分けられてます。こっちのグリーンのところは中間貯蔵施設ですので、こちらは人間が住むということはそもそもありえないところですのでね。
He said for areas that have been decontaminated, there have been efforts to repopulate them, although the progress has been slow.
特定復興再生拠点っていう860ヘクタールあるんですけど、そこを位置づけたところは除染をしてインフラも整備してっていうことで、来年の春解除を目指している場所です。この黄色いところは。
This is the yellow area the mayor referred to. Ahead of the lifting of its no entry zone status next year, a new train station was recently opened in the area. Ono train station reopened in 2020, but right in front of the train station are homes surrounded by barricades. Hardly anyone uses this train station, although the commuter express train stops here. It will be a long time before a new future for the town arrives. Michio Ishida, CNA, Okuma Town, Fukushima.
He upended everything the world knew about black holes and defied doctors' predictions by living another 55 years before his death.
Being on the ventilator has not curbed my lifestyle.
Professor Stephen Hawking is probably one of the most celebrated scientists in modern times. Now, some of his most prized papers and belongings will be on display. His office will be reconstructed in the British Science Museum next year. Selected items, including his wheelchair, will be on display. Cambridge University will be acquiring his scientific papers and journals, plus childhood letters and early, never-before-seen drafts. The university library hopes to catalogue and digitise all 50 boxes of the documents and make them accessible to anyone in the world.
My father would be so pleased, and I think maybe at the same time just a tiny bit overwhelmed that he was going to form part of the story of history of science, that he was going to be alongside the great scientists, the people whose work he really admired.
HNL continues in the next hour. We'll be checking the top stories, including another record high numbers of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia. Younger people getting infected in the country's third wave. Later, the US president calls for humanitarian access in Ethiopia's war-ravaged Tigray region.
Look forward to brighter skies. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
This is Game Oji-san. I make YouTube videos. While he does bespoke carpentry, I get up close with a new generation of local craft people.
Whatever it took to become a woodworker, I think I did it.
Starting with a furniture artisan.
If you are a CEO, the desk represents you.
Will I keep on my fingers? Handmade Tales, a brand new series, Sunday on CNA.
I'm getting my